Hello, everyone. Welcome to week number 8, our last week together in Bio 120. It has been a wonderful, wonderful term. We've had some terrific topics. I really have enjoyed the process of you going through learning biology, learning some new genetics, learning about epigenetics and your particular projects, eutrophication, climate change, genetic modification, gene editing, antibiotic resistance. We've got so many good topics this term, so I really have enjoyed those, and I can't wait for the grading this week because I'll be looking at those final projects that you've turned in. So let's see what we've got going on this week. By the way, if you hear noise in the background, that is Richard back there, my cat. He's going cuckoo over Cocoa Puffs on this new toy that I got him that has laser lights and little feather puffs that come out. Yeah, you can hear him chasing it around the room. Oh well. Now he's chasing the balls. Oh my goodness. So anyway, here I am in my Airbnb still, waiting to get moved into a normal house. With that being said, we've got our last week together. So last week we looked at ecosystems, if you chose to do that. And ecosystems are terribly important, and understanding them and how abiotic features of an environment work together with the species that are there in order for everything to thrive and survive, right? This week is about population ecology. So we hit on ecology last week. This week is population ecology, and this is where you study the members of a species that live together in a place and time, and how they interact with their ecosystem. That is population ecology. And the particular population that we're talking about this week is the human population. There is a wonderful animation and video that goes along with this assignment. Read the Module 8 overview, skim through that chapter 45 to give you an idea of what population ecology is. Watch the video on the human population. Do the little animation where you can move through time and you can stop it to see what happens. Especially stop it during those time periods where you see a loss of population. Look in the 1300s and the 1600s to see what happened during those times when a tremendous amount of the human population decreased. So it's very telling. And it also shows you what the population is going to look like in the near future. We are still at around 8 billion. Well, it's 8 billion plus now. We only hit that a few years ago, and now estimated in 2050 we will hit 9 billion people on the planet. Can this planet sustain that many human beings? Not sure about that one. So you have one assignment due this week. You don't have any discussion boards, you don't have any project, you already turned that in. You have a journal entry. And you're going to discuss exponential growth. So exponential growth is where the growth just keeps going on and 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 on. And you think, with some populations, maybe that does happen, like with bacteria. No, how could that happen? Aren't you going to run out of food at some point? Maybe even space. Wastes are going to build up. So exponential growth cannot go on forever in any population, even with bacterial cells that are extremely tiny. You're going to look at the meaning of the map. You're going to tell me what a dot means on the map when you see a little dot pop up, because that's important. And you're going to discuss the consequences of the human population reaching 9 billion. What are we going to have to consider? If we're going to have that many people, 1 billion more people in just a few years' time, what are the consequences of that going to be? We've already seen consequences of this. Remember 2020, COVID, brand new virus nobody had ever seen before? It affected every person on this planet. Over 1 million people died in the United States from COVID. So things like that are what happen when populations are too crowded. Diseases come in and wipe out parts of the population that are susceptible. There are some people who just have the genetics that make them susceptible. There are some people who are vulnerable, like the very tiniest of human beings, or the elderly, or people with underlying disease conditions, So there are things like that we have to consider. What about our food source? Are we going to have enough food? Are we going to have enough safe, clean drinking water? Will we have enough space? And I don't mean space anywhere, because you have to live in the habitable parts of the planet, right? You can't live out in the middle of the Sahara Desert if you have no water source. That just isn't going to be possible. So you're going to talk about the consequences of the human population reaching 9 billion, because this will happen in your lifetime. Maybe not mine. We'll see. Maybe mine, but maybe not mine. But you need to be thinking about this, and your children definitely need to understand this. All right, and then we've got a few last things to consider after you turn in that journal entry. My final thoughts and tasks. Please fill out your course evaluations. Please, 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 because that helps me out as an instructor. That tells me what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. That helps my team lead know how I'm doing. That helps my dean know how I'm doing as an instructor. It also gives them information about the course and should anything be changed in the course. So please fill those out. Take that time and do that. The last day to turn in any work whatsoever is Sunday, April 26th by 11:59 p.m. If the clock strikes midnight, just like with Cinderella, it's all over with. You cannot add anything to the course. I cannot add anything to the course. You can't send it to me. If you think that you need to apply for an incomplete, I have to do that. And remember last week I said that you have to have successfully completed 70% of the course in order for me to submit that request. So do realize that. You can't come in at the last minute and say, well, I haven't done weeks 1 through 7 any work and expect to get an incomplete, because that isn't going to happen. But if you need to, then let's talk and let's get that turned in for you. And that can give you up to a month's extra time in order to turn in your work. So just let me know. If you're having any issues whatsoever, please let me know before the course ends, because there's not a heck of a lot I can do after that. How do you do that? m.sigmon@snhu.edu. I'm here for you. I'll be glad to help you in any way that I can. Keep in touch with me. If you need a letter of recommendation later on, just tell me which term you were in, because I teach almost every term, which term you were in, which course you were in. And if you tell me what your final project was, I'll go back and look at it, and that is awesome. I love to talk about final projects in my recommendation letters, and that really makes an impact, because whoever it is that you're applying to wants to know specifics about you, not just, oh, this person was a really good student, well, and in my class. Yeah, they want to know specifics, and I would love to give them some. And so I'll talk to them about your final project and the work that you did in the course. So just let me know. Keep in touch with me. There's a way that you can through SNHU. And I wish you the best of everything. Much success in your education and your new careers. So have a wonderful week, and we'll be in contact this week. Have a good week.